Hello everyone, and welcome to The Lost Planeswalker. You're here with me, Jesse, The Lost Planeswalker. And today, I'm going to show you a little bit of how my mind works on deck building. I just did a video. If you did not watch it, you can go look in the video description, and it should appear here in the cards. I don't know. It's the first time I'm going to try it, but me unboxing these decks, and or these pre-release kits. And I kind of wanted to show off what would I actually do with these kits as far as deck building goes. The first one I'm going to do is Mishra. And there's a couple things, I want to keep in mind when I'm building Mishra's deck. I want to try and stay in flavor just for fun. This isn't something you have to do, but here are all the cards I got from my pre-release kit. I kind of laid them out ahead of time, make things a little easier. So I think right off the bat, I'm going to try and look at black, green, red, and then these artifacts here. So I think I'm going to leave the white and the blue out. That seems to be more human soldier strategy, and that's not really what Mishra's about. So just for fun, I'm just going to put those away, even though I think we got some really good ones. The promo card I got was Hercule's Final Meditation, which, bounces all lands back to opponent's hand. I got some other good stuff in here, but just for fun's sake, I'm gonna pack those up, and I'm gonna start looking at more of this red, green, black area where I think Mishra falls. And just for good for us, I also got this Deathbloom Ritualist, which is black, green, and an Arblast Engineer, which is red and green. So I think that's how I'm gonna build these decks. I think I'm gonna kind of use these two, kind of like a commander, base them kind of a little bit around that. Graveyard, Power Stone damage sort of thing. A couple things to keep in mind when you're playing in pre-release. What I'm doing right here probably isn't the best strategy if you're going to win, but if you want to have some fun, why not, right? It's just, that's all pre-release is about. So the couple things I'm going to be focusing on is damage. Cards that deal damage to creatures or destroy creatures. This is always very powerful, especially in pre-release events. A lot of times I've played up against decks that just rule the board by eliminating all of my threats, or making it so I can't do anything with them. So that's something I'm going to look into when I'm building my deck. Another thing I'm going to look at is we have all of these really cool artifacts. A lot of these are the prototype ones. I'm going to look and see what kind of ones we can throw in there. And then we got these special cards, reprints of older artifacts. And there are some really good ones. Liquid Metal Coating, I got 2 of those. Target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. So you can just turn something into an artifact, which could work for some stuff. Defense Grid. If it's not your turn, you gotta pay 3 more cast spells. That could be really good against spell slinging decks that are trying to kill all your stuff. Swift Foot Boots, Hexproof, Haste. Can't get any better than that. So I'm gonna clean some of these up and kind of lay out what I'm working with here. Alrighty, now that we have our cards selected and we're gonna be building in red, black, and green, we're gonna do a real quick yes/no. What cards I think right off the top of my head are going to be good, which ones are going to be not good in this deck. There's no real science to this. It's just, a lot of feel. Playing with some of these cards before. Some of the cards we put in the yes pile are going to, end up in the no pile later on. But just to give you guys an idea of how I build a deck. So from the initial stack of cards, we slimmed it down to 35, which is getting closer. If we look at this little building a pre-release deck pamphlet that they gave us when we opened up the box, it suggests about 15 to 18 creatures, 5 to 8 other spells, and 17 lands. So as a general good rule of thumb, we're looking for about 23 creatures, or I guess 23 other cards in total with your 17 lands. We're just at 35, so we still got to cut another 12 cards. This can be a little harder. So I'm going to lay out the cards and we're going to look at them that way to figure out what our final cuts are going to be. Alright, so here are my final cuts to get down to those 23 cards. All the cards on the top are the ones I'm keeping, and all the cards on the bottom are the ones I'm removing. Some of the cards that I'm removing are because they're just expensive. Mishra's Juggernaut right here, 5 mana for a 5/3 with trample, and it has to attack each turn. I mean, it has Unearth. It could be good, but I think that it's just going to be kind of a pain. I cast it for all my mana, it gets killed. I cast it again for all my mana, it gets killed. And I've spent my turns doing nothing while my opponent has just been, or doesn't even block at all and just swings out and kills me. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. Same thing with Adaptive Automaton. That would be a great card in a tribal deck. But unfortunately, there's just too many different tribes between green, black, and red. There's some humans, there's some elves, there's some dwarves, you know, there just isn't enough of one for me to feel comfortable in playing that card. Fall of Krug, yeah, it's good because it targets your opponent, but it is 6 mana for a burn spell. I just don't know if it's going to be that good. And these are just my opinions. I haven't played the pre-release event. I don't know, what kind of synergy strategies, but I'm thinking you're gonna have creatures that are not just gonna die to 1 mana. Raise to the ground, destroy target artifact. If the value is 1 or less, draw a card. That's good. I mean, you're spending 3 mana to destroy an artifact, and there's not gonna be a lot that are 1 or less. So you're not really gonna draw a card. You're gonna spend 3 mana to destroy an artifact. And even if you do, you destroy a tapped Power Stone, what does your opponent care? It's a tapped Power Stone, so that's not really great. Gix's Caress, it's okay. You can choose a non-land card, and that token has to discard it and create a tapped Power Stone. But, I don't know, for 3 mana, it seems like a lot. There's a lot of other things you can do for 3 mana. So this would not be my first choice. And as far as green goes, we got some really cool stuff, but it just doesn't make the cut for this type of deck. For example, Philology Excavation. You make 3 tapped Power Stones, gain 3 life. Yeah, that's good, but this deck isn't focusing on that so much, so it's not going to be that great. Tanos' Tinkering can make a small creature for 4 mana. I don't know. I'm not a big fan. It can kind of buff a creature a little bit, but it's not good enough. Argothian Opportunist, same thing. Makes a Power Stone, not really good enough in this sort of deck. Definitely other decks, it would be much better, but because there is a limited number of artifacts in this deck, not so much. And then this Centurion Steward. I have one in the deck, and it probably wouldn't be a bad thing to put another one in. But you can kind of see my overall mana curve is rather low, and I tend to try to do that with pre-releases because you never know if you're going to make it to turn 5. So why have all of these big expensive spells? Have a couple of them, but it's always a roll of the dice. Somebody could play a real fast stompy deck, and you're just out of luck. So I decided to keep my mana curve smaller on this, and this is my final cut, and I'll show off those cards individually for my Mishra deck. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried hard to kind of give a little bit of analysis on what I would do if I was building this pre-release deck. I tried to stick with some of the more Mishra-centric colors. Him being a him being a bad guy, Urza being a bad guy, they're all bad guys in this set. But sticking to the more Mishra-themed cards is what I tried to do. There's some graveyard recursion, there's some damage, you know, these little spells that add attack and health or give something haste are super powerful. They just make the game go so much quicker. You know, there were some awesome artifact reprints in this deck, awesome artifact creatures in this deck, no doubt. And I hope that this helped. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. There's going to be a part 2 for Urza, so if you want to check that out, let me know. But yeah, thank you for tuning in and watching, and yeah, have a great day. And as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.